Hello, this is Father Fish. I need to work some more on these battery jars. In our last video, we demonstrated how to set them up. And we did 3 very different kinds of things. One was very successful. One was moderately so, and the other was a complete failure. So we're going to go back and we're going to redo the failure and explain why it happened and how it happened. So, this is the failure. You can see it's pretty nasty. It's jet black. Now we started this with mud, a particularly nasty and virulent form of mud. We showed you the source of it. It was a pond. This is some of the same mud. It's black, smells really bad, and it is the foundation of a pond that we looked at from last week. Was the video we did last week about Father Fish getting wet. It's a pond that has only one plant growing in it, baby tears. And during this dry season, the bank is this mud, which means mud is covering the entire pond. This mud is about 4 inches thick, under which is sand. Now, we did not get sand. Should have done that. I will do that in the future. What we got was mud. We put a mat of baby tears in the jar, and it turned black, blacker than black. It fouled the water completely, and is, by all accounts, a disgusting mess. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to dump it out, rinse it out, and then set it up again, but a little differently. If you'll remember, my rule of thumb for dirted tanks is to cover them with 2 inches of sand. I did not do this. And I did not do this in deference to the pond that we took the mud out of. Now the pond is a much larger body of water. This bowl is very tiny. So what we're going to do is just try to recap. We're going to do it again, put the mud in again, a little thinner and a little drier, and then pour sand on top and actually do the 2 inches of sand, which I normally call for, on top of the mud, and then we'll refill it. So let's take a look, and we'll watch how we do this. Now there's a principle at work here, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to do this. The principle goes to, let's see, let me see if we can catch some of this. I'm pouring the whole mess in the bucket. I'm gonna have to get in there and scrape it out. This is nasty stuff. Alright, I think what I'll do is turn this off and go back and rinse this thing out so that we can start with it relatively clean. Okay. We're going to try this again. Now, we've got a cup here. We took some of this out already. Let's get some more. Mud from the bucket. Put it in the bottom. And that's more than enough. That's nearly an inch. Rinse this container out. And I've got a bucket of sand here somewhere. Here it is. We're going to put dry sand. This is a very fine sand. It's one I haven't used before. It's a concrete sand. Let's pour it in. On top of the mud. This is finer than I normally use, which might actually work to our benefit. I've used fine sand before, and I frankly like it. We're going to need 3 or 4 cups of this to get a decent cover. That's probably enough. Let's do a little more. It's a horrible mess we made before. I don't want to risk that again. Okay. Now, I might have some water left. I do. From our collecting trip. So we're going to put some of this water in here. And try not to stir things up in the process. It's real important to put this water in as gently as possible to avoid breaking through the sand layer and stirring up the dirt. Now, it's already looking a little cloudy, which I assume is from the sand. This is not rinsed sand. So, but it should settle out. Alright, one more. Well, at least it's not black. Now I've got a little bit of baby tears left here. I don't know if I want to use it. It's kind of from the same mud strap. Sitting in mud. I think I'm not going to do that. Let me do this instead. Let me get into the shrimp tank that's got some dwarf sword. There's a bit of it. I'll pull some of this out. A fair amount of algae in it. I think I can get rid of most of that. Okay, so that's a nice mat of sword. We'll just use the tweezers and plant this. Now, the principle that I operate from, if there's a father fish system, it is to put together some basic elements and kind of turn them loose and let the tank do what the tank is going to do. It's based on the notion that a body of water, whatever its size, will seek to achieve balance. Whether it's a little tiny tank or a vast ocean. There. All right, so we've done it. One or two plants floating up here. We're not going to be able to tell much until the water clears up, but this should work a lot better, and it's going to be a long-term project that we'll do another one another time. Let me talk to you a little bit first. The notion is, that the belief is, that a body of water will seek to balance itself based on whatever it is, whatever its condition is. It will achieve stasis, it will achieve balance, it'll achieve harmony, if you will, without doing anything to it. Now, with the black tank, or the black water, if we had allowed that to sit, eventually it would have balanced out. But it might have taken a very, very long time. And I just didn't want to fool with the smell and the look, frankly. Besides which, setting it up violated a basic principle that I try to teach, which is to cap the substrate with sand. So I've done that now. Even though we found an environment that is not capped and that is thriving, we didn't replace it, didn't duplicate it. And as I think back, there have been several times that I've returned to that pond and found it crashed, utterly crashed. A stinking foul mess. I blamed it on the municipality poisoning the pond to kill the plants. I think now, because they denied it, that I was wrong in that assessment, and that the pond simply collapsed because of the very thing that we saw here. It was incapable of creating a healthy balance based on what it had to deal with. Now, it ran through the summer and through the early fall and crashed. The two times I saw it, crashed in the fall. Crashed when things started getting a little cold, when there was more pressure, on the environment where the plants began to break down and where the system could no longer maintain the level of the very, very high level of organic matter that pond has. Okay, so maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's why it happened, and maybe it's not. We started this one again. But the principle remains the same. The principle is that a body of water, your fish tank, if you are gentle with it, keep your hands out of it as much as possible, do as little as is necessary, that tank will balance itself. How do I know this? I know this because that is my belief. I fervently believe that nature, our nature system, is predicated upon balance and harmony. And that regardless of what is thrown at it, it will seek to achieve balance and harmony. Well, that's my lesson for today. I hope my battery is not gone and that we've been able to capture some of this. See you later.